Angel and Genevieve. These are my helpers today. And this is Icy. Y'all remember her as I Can't Take It, her registered name. True story, at a barrel race she was entered, they mistaken her name for I Can't Make It. I said technically that's true, however that's not her name. So this is what you want to get. You want to get some of this, you can get it at Lowe's or pretty much anywhere, hardware stores. It's this thick, like here's my thumb. I don't really know how thick that is, but it's pretty darn thick. You're gonna need duct tape. You don't need animal Intex, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. This is what the package looks like. You can order it from Amazon. You can get this stuff wet for some type of applications, but for a foundered foot, you wanna keep that foot dry as possible because that lamina inside, if it gets wet, if it's enclosed where it cannot, if it's in an area where it gets wet, your coffin bone can sink even more. You want to keep the foot pretty dry. Not like super dry, but just drier. So you want to make a pad out of strips of duct tape. Just kind of layer them like this so that you've made a pad. And big enough where it's going to go around this. So I've cut this out. Shoot, it's stuck to my finger. Okay. So you just cut out a horse hoof shape. You want it a little bit bigger than your horse's foot. Cut out that horse hoof shape out of this stuff, and you're gonna set this horse's foot where there's a little bit in front of the toe, because this is gonna kind of wrap around your horse's foot. I didn't size this for our hoof model today, so it might not be the right size for her, but it was the perfect size for the last horse I had that foundered. Anyway, so cut this out. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's pretty rough cut. You might be able to do a better job. So I'm gonna get Angel to hold the camera. There we go. So getting this to stick to the foot is a bit tricky. This horse has shoes on right now, and also her feet might be a little bit damp, but you can take duct tape and just kind of roll it, and this should stick to a nice, dry, bare foot. Again, this might not be that great on a shod foot. She's shod pretty deep too. And you can put your animal Intex on top of that if you want to, and then you don't put any tape here. But if you're just putting this straight on a foot, this just kind of stabilizes it a little bit. Plop your hoof right there. Get this stuff ready. And we're gonna go to our foot. We're gonna go to this foot, because sometimes she has a hard time picking up that other leg because she has a little knee. Her legs are kind of crooked. All right. So here's our foot. Just take this pad, stick it on your hoof, and then take your duct tape and just wrap it around. This horse has a shoe, so it's not gonna fit right, but this should fit down pretty good. You're gonna wanna take your wrap and just wrap this up really, really good. You want to go over the heel bulbs, and you can go over the coronary band, because we're going to cut slits in this. Anytime vet wrap or anything that's constrictive and stretchy goes over your coronary band and behind your heel bulbs, you can cut off circulation to the foot, and now you're in worse shape than you were in the beginning. So I'm going to show you how you can go over those parts of the horse's foot to secure this really good, so it'll last for a few days or hopefully a week. And then how you can cut strips so that the foot can not be constricted. So you can see there. So what we're gonna do with this padding, styrofoam doesn't work because styrofoam compresses and explodes and cracks. This purple stuff works really good. It does compress. It's gonna push on the bottom of that horse's foot. And by pushing on the bottom of the horse's foot, it's gonna engage the sole and just help suspend that sinking coffin bone in a comfortable way. If you can suspend that coffin bone in a comfortable way, the horse can heal. If you put something on the horse's foot and it's not comfortable, you're not gonna heal it. Now, just the way that I've done this, I'm gonna go over this with duct tape. I'm not gonna do it on this video because, duct tape wrapping is pretty self-explanatory. But now I'm gonna cut this wrap so that you can kind of see how we cut it. I don't have a blunt knife up here. It got really dull and I threw it out. You want to take a knife like this and cut off the tip. Doesn't have to be serrated, just any knife. Cut off the tip and then run it over something rough to dull the tip, because you don't want to accidentally jab your horse. I go sideways anyway, but it's just safer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some slits around this wrap. It's still going to be snug. I'm going to cut it slightly below the coronary band. It's still going to be snug. You're not going to be able to pull this off. However, it will release the tension and the constriction, because there's some big arteries running down here, and if you cut those off, cut off the blood supply, this horse will founder even worse than it already has. So remember, I mean, this is where we take a pulse on a horse, is back here. So that's how strong and stout and important that blood supply is. Sorry, my gigantic head's probably in the way. Yeah. But I mean, you kind of get the picture. You just want to cut this until you can easily and comfortably fit your fingers in between, which I actually can't right now. So I need to cut some more. But if you use a better knife and blunt off that tip, just, you always want to kind of cut sideways and to the side, but if there were an accident, the horse moves or something like that. But anyway, this is how you're going to take care of a foundered foot. A lot of farriers, they've got a lot of programs and protocols for a freshly foundered foot, and it involves shoes and nails and glue and stuff like that. The problem with the glue is that you cannot inspect. And then the problem with nails is that your soft tissue, your soft lamina in that horse's foot is already compromised. And it's not such a great idea to drive a nail through any compromised hoof, because it's already weakened, it's already in distress. Don't make it worse. Nails are great for healthy feet. They are not great for unhealthy feet. And glue is just, glue is gonna hold on to that foot where you cannot change it out. You can't inspect and see how much of your cushion has compressed. Now, the other important thing is that you keep these foundered horses not on hard ground, because that's not good for them either, but you don't want them on deep sand or deep shavings. Put them in an area on dirt that has some sinkage to it, but not so much. When a horse has deep ground, the toe is the thinnest area on the horse's foot, as opposed to the heels. So the heels are going to stand up over deep ground and the toe is going to sink down. So instead of the horse's foot being on ground and deep ground, it's going to be at this angle. And your coffin bone is already at a really poor angle straight down to the earth. So make sure she's on ground that's a natural surface, that's soft without being deep, so that you don't angle that hoof down where it can adjust that coffin bone even more. You do want to keep an eye on the integrity of your pad, because the pad will begin to compress more at the toe, which is going to set it down. That usually happens within, 4 or 5, 10 days, just depending on the weight of the horse, how much they're traveling. So keep an eye on that, because you will have to change that pad out as it compresses. But the pad, because it's solid at the bottom, also will keep it up off the ground. Now the clog idea, and I hate to talk trash about clogs, but I'm gonna do it. When you've got a foundered foot and you keep rolling down, you keep popping down the angle of that coffin bone. And again, you want to keep that coffin bone as suspended as possible. It's here, like the wings are here, and you just kind of want to get those wings back down where they belong at a nice, perfect 4-degree angle instead of a 20. So anyway, I hope this helps. Bute is really good for these horses. Just to help them. Banamine's okay, but I feel like Butte oftentimes is a little bit better when you've got a foot problem. Maybe somebody disagrees with that. You know, honestly, just let the horse tell you. If you give the horse Banamine and they're better, but then you put them on Butte, and Butte's going to take 3 or 4 days to really be worth a darn. God, I look like shit. Anyway, put this hat on right. You're going to notice the effects of Butte within 3 or 4 days. And if you feel like within 3 or 4 days that Butte is making a better difference on your horse's comfort level, just keep them on Butte. Butte's not good for the gut, but, you know, wallering around backwards and putting all that excess weight on the back end of the horse isn't that great either. Gosh, I can't think of anything else with Founder. The Animal Lintex pad is really good. Keep it, you know, dry pad. If you've got any breakage at the bottom of the foot, the Animal Lintex pad is really beneficial there. It's going to help. It's going to help a little. It is an analgesic, but I mean, when they're foundering, come on, it's going to take a little bit more than a pad. You know, with some medicine in it, they're going to hurt. But it does have a property of it to kind of keep bacteria and fungus from taking over. And it's not real strong chemical, you know, like copper sulfate or something, which is going to tear up tissue. It's not going to demolish tissue, especially while it's dry. So, gosh, Sissy, I hope this helps you. I hope this mare gets better. If anybody ever suggested it might be time to euthanize her, you just throw her in a trailer and bring her down here. It took me 8 months on the last foundered horse that I helped out. Took me 8 months to get him to where he could walk and was comfortable. I actually wanted to euthanize him because he was in so much just distress and pain. And I didn't, and he's, you know, not a winning barrel horse today, but he is a very sound, comfortable, happy barrel horse with a great life. So if it gets to the point where you think it's time to kill her, just call me. Anyway, thanks guys. Thank you, Icy.